Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel. It's Manchester Derby Day. We don't need an intro. We're getting straight into the team news. Before that though, get in a chat. How are you guys doing? FP, good to see you mate. Matt and Nev as well. I hope you guys are well. How are we feeling? The team news has dropped and this is how the two sides will set up in terms of their 11. No, that's wrong. Let me quickly move a couple of players. 1 second. There we go. Anyway, this is the team news. So Manchester City will be Ederson in goal, Kyle Walker at right back, Stones centre back, Diaz centre back, Aki left back, Rodri, Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne in midfield, I think. Although Bernardo Silva and Foden may swap. And then we've got Doku on the wing, again, Foden or Bernardo Silva, Haaland up front. The Manchester United team news, the team news where we are really interested. Onana in goal, a centre back pairing of Rafael Varane and Johnny Evans, Lindelof at left back, Dalot at right back, Casemiro, Kobbie Mainoo. And then Rashford, Fernandes, Garnacho, McTominay. Now what we need to do is first of all, get your thoughts in the chat and let me know, what do you think this lineup means? Are you happy with our lineup or are you not? And also on top of that, who actually plays where? So are you happy to see Evans in the starting 11, for example? Are you happy to see McTominay in the starting 11? But also, where do you think everyone's playing? Because it could be like this. Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro in midfield, Fernandes in the 10, McTominay up front, Rashford and Garnacho on the wings. That is one possibility. It could also be Rashford up front, Garnacho left, McTominay in the 10, Bruno Fernandes out wide. Very, very similar to what we done last time against Manchester City. Obviously different personnel, but in that game we had Fernandes wide, McTominay in the 10. We could see this again. We could also see the same flipped. Bruno Fernandes on the left-hand side, Garnacho on the right-hand side. But it could also be a diamond with split strikers, with Marcus Rashford and Garnacho essentially like this, and then maybe Casemiro holding, perhaps this maybe? Or you could swap Bruno Fernandes and Scott McTominay. What way around do you think this is going to be? Chad, good to see you in the chat, my friend. Firestrike as well, Lightning, I'm just going to try and get through as many people as possible. Josh, good to see you guys, hope you're all well. That left side for City has more retention now. It does in the sense of course, having Bernardo Silva in midfield, although Doku the opposite a little bit. Doku a little bit less retention based. I think the fact that they've gone for Bernardo Silva shows that Pep is scared of us. More scared of us than what he was of Chelsea. Against Chelsea, he went for forward-thinking players, the De Bruynes, the Alvarez's and things like that, because he wasn't so worried about their transition. The fact that Bernardo Silva starts this game when he hasn't been starting a lot recently, the fact that he starts shows that Pep is scared of us. If Pep Guardiola is scared of us, that's got to give us a little boost. So that's a good thing. Is McTominay playing as a 9? Or are we having McTominay as our 10 and playing Bruno off the right? Not sure. It could also be a bit like Matt said there, some sort of 4-2-2 shape, where Rashford and Garnacho are the two wide players, and Fernandes and McTominay are kind of a front two. Then at times they pop up like this, and then at times like that. It could be like that, I'm not too sure. I would probably prefer Amrabat as our left back. Foden will be scary with Lindelof as our left back. There is also a chance it's Bernardo Silva right wing rather than Foden, because that has happened recently as well. There's a lot to try and dissect and pick apart in a short amount of time here. Lots of young players on the bench, as FP has pointed out. We are, of course, hit with injuries at the moment. Will we rely on one of them from the bench? Could be a little bit of a story there. I would probably prefer... Sorry, I just read that. I actually went for a 4-4-2 in my previous video. It seems a logical decision by Ten Hag. Who would you have as the front two in that? Bruno right wing, Rashford centre forward, Garnacho left wing. That's what I think it might be. I think it might be this. Purely because of the fact, basing it off the last time we played City, Bruno played on the right. Of course, moved inside quite a lot as he naturally does, but McTominay was the 10 in that game, tasked with picking up Rodri. Hopefully we have none of those refereeing decisions, which were horrible last time as well. Bruno will drift out wide, where the space opens up, as City don't have fullbacks on the right, and look to spread passes, similar to what Palmer did. Nevertheless, whoever is playing on the right for City, it may be one of the most vulnerable positions in this team. Do you mean for us, we're vulnerable, or do you mean they're vulnerable? Let me know what you mean there. Quickly clarify it. I think Ten Hag will play McTominay as a 10 and playing Bruno off the right side. Personally, not a fan on the right, but it is what it is. Managers putting Rashford up front feels like the definition of insanity. Yeah, same thing over and over again, expecting different results. We have seen him score there before, though. You know, last season when he really hit top form, there was a spell where he was playing up front. If you remember, Weghorst was in a 10 behind him. Madu, good to see you, my friend. I hope you're well. Hope you're having a good weekend. I think 4-4-2 diamond is way better than Bruno on the right wing. The thing is, when we talk about actually formations, they all blend into each other. Because it could quite easily, for example, look like this, where we say, let's play McTominay up front. We could play a 4-3-3, which looks like this. But then very quickly, it's only one small movement. McTominay drops a little bit. The forwards come inside. Suddenly it's a diamond. So the formation as such isn't the most important thing. It's more about what spaces the players are playing in. Is Garnacho on the left side? Is he up front? Is he on the right? Where's Rashford? Where's Bruno? Where's McTominay? Who's deeper out of McTominay and Bruno Fernandes? Are you guys a little bit surprised at the fact that Sofyan Amrabat is not playing? Played very well in midweek. Very well. Particularly in the second half. I think he had a great game. A little bit surprised there, maybe? Do we feel that Lindelof is the better 1-versus-1 defender out wide? To be fair, he probably is. Amrabat, for all what he does on the ball, did struggle in 1-versus-1 situations. And Foden, Bernardo Silva, Kyle Walker overlapping would have caused him problems. You think Amrabat should have started at left back? I think it was definitely an option. In terms of what I think United will try and do in possession with this lineup, is I do expect to see a back three shape. On the ball, this is, on the ball. So when we're around the halfway line, for example. So that'll be Evans in the middle, Varane and Lindelof either side of him. That's a good decision to start off with. I don't think this back three is the greatest you will ever see. But at least Varane and Lindelof are better wide defenders than what Johnny Evans is. It should prevent Johnny Evans from being too isolated, which is a good thing. I think it's unlikely that we go super high man for man in the press because of being scared of Haaland going the other way. But in possession, we do have opportunities to get on the ball in this sort of 3-2 shape. Dalot inverting. I think he's going to be pretty important today. Really, really important today. He is most weeks, but I think this week perhaps more than usual. Kobbie Mainoo will therefore play this side. Again, I think it's going to be Garnacho left, Rashford up front, Bruno wide. Which could mean we see a change of Kobbie Mainoo's position. Because if you've got Bruno and Kobbie on this side, neither of them want to make that run off the ball and kind of stretch the defence this way. So could we see Kobbie move to a left where I actually prefer him? And could we see McTominay now given this licence? So as Bruno comes from out wide, comes inside with the ball, that Scott McTominay run, definitely something which we potentially could exploit in this game. Amrabat is not playing because there is no need for inverting the fullback, as we already are starting 4 midfielders. Yeah, obviously it depends again. Are we closer to a diamond shape? How wide is Bruno and McTominay? How high up the pitch are they? Again, we're not entirely sure what the structure is going to be here. I think it will be our usual formation with Bruno right, so naturally he'll be a bit narrower than what our right winger typically is when it's a Garnacho. I don't think we're going to see the diamond. I don't think. I think it's a little bit unlikely. The question is, can we defend against this City side? And can we play in transition with this team? Can we do that? Because the weaknesses which I was talking about on stream the other day, but also in my tactical preview yesterday morning, have been addressed a little bit with this City 11. For example, Bernardo Silva playing does provide them with a little bit more retention. Also, the fact that we don't have Antony takes one of our weapons away, which I was talking about the other day. So there is that fear a little bit. Just quickly to touch on this, another reason why I wonder if we see Bruno wide is for doubling up against Doku with Dalot. Aki will come forward. He won't necessarily, bomb forward all the time, but he will drift forward. But Doku is the danger man down this side of the pitch. Very, very good on the dribble. Terrifying on the dribble. I wonder if we go Dalot and Bruno, double up, and try and restrict that a little bit. Alex, good to see you. Everyone said we were finished against Liverpool, but we held them off with 10 first-team players injured. And there's no reason we can't do the same here. Some part of me hopes it's a 4-4-2 diamond, creates a 4-versus-4 in the midfield, protects zone 14, Rashford and Garnacho to exploit the space left by Stones. It's definitely possible. My only concern, if we were to go for a diamond shape in this game, which would probably look... If it's a diamond, do you guys think McTominay would be the tip of the diamond, or do you think it would be Bruno Fernandes? I think it would be McTominay, particularly with the nature of the front two we would have ahead of him. So like this, obviously the concern is these wide spaces, giving someone like Kyle Walker too much room to drift into. And if you do that, there is this potential for a 3 versus 2 on this side. And De Bruyne being a player who is utilising an overload, that's a scary prospect. Very scary prospect. Obviously, we could defend in a diamond in quite a flat way. Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno both dropping in like this. Like so. Which does reduce some of that space. We've also got Casemiro in zone 14, as someone said earlier. But we are 3 versus 2 over here. Unless we start off as a diamond, and then as we retreat back towards our own goal, someone like McTominay fills in. So perhaps Bruno could still be left with the wide job. But could we then drop into a 4-4-2? Like this? That may not be a bad strategy because you've got 4 players there who know how to defend to an extent and will work hard. It's better than having wingers in these positions. So that could be the strategy. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. I'm not entirely surprised that it is the starting 11 we've gone for. You know, I'm not completely shocked. But it's not quite what I thought was going to happen. So it's not completely caught me off guard as such. But it is a tweak. It is a little bit of a spanner in the works. It's going to be interesting to see how Ten Hag adapts to that. What I will say, looking on the positive side of things, is if we're sitting here questioning what is the setup, how does this team line up, how do we do the spacing, what positions are they in, Pep must have similar questions. Pep must have similar questions right now. Pep doesn't know, are we in a 4-4-2? Are we in a diamond? Are we in a 4-2-3-1? A 4-3-3? He doesn't know if Scott's going to be deepish in midfield, like he was at the first half against Forest, or if he's going to be high as a box crasher. He doesn't know if Bruno's going to be on the right-hand side or in the middle. The same for Rashford. Is he going to be left through the middle? Garnacho, where's he going to be? That could be a good thing for us. You know, that slight element of surprise and unpredictability might be something which works in our favour. So yes, it gives us a little bit of guesswork to do right now, but it could help us. It could help us. By the way, guys, there's 140 people here, but only 15 likes. I think we can get those likes up. I think we can definitely get those likes up. Those tweets showing Højlund and Licha with the team got me so hyped. Shame we still have to wait longer for those two. Yeah, I think Licha's still a couple of months away. I would imagine Højlund a few weeks. Hopefully by the end of the month. But yeah, I think a lot of people got baited by that a little bit. Man United's formation is a Christmas tree. I don't think it's a diamond. How would you line that up as such? Who would be the 2 behind the 1 up front? We can still win? Absolutely. Absolutely. Silva mentioned a little while ago about a 5-2-3 out of possession shape. And I think if we set up with Bruno on the wing, McTominay and Kobbie in that 2 makes sense if Casemiro drops back. That's a good point. Very good point. Casemiro, as City make their front 5, so Foden wide, De Bruyne in his pocket here, Bernardo Silva in his pocket here, Doku here, Casemiro dropping into this 5 where his box defence is strong. His box defence is strong like this. He could drop into that position. Mainoo and McTominay in front of him. And then almost defend in a 5-4-1, 5-2-3, ready to spring on the counter-attack. That could definitely be what we see in phases of this game. I don't think it will outright be our approach. I don't think we will start in a back 5. But as City come forward, create overloads, we could see Casemiro drop in and then give McTominay and Mainoo the responsibility to cover the ground in the midfield. Also, obviously, what this does is it makes it a bit more compact because we've got 2 central midfielders in here, with Bruno and Garnacho also tucking, but 3 centre-backs. That is a lot of players narrow and close together. Very close together. You just know Højlund is fuming. He's out of this. I am as well. I feel like if Højlund was in this, could have been a big help. Big help. Just an out of possession phase. It's what Bayern Leverkusen did to Bayern in the 3-0. A lot of teams do this. Chelsea used a similar approach against City the other week. What would happen is rather than the midfielder dropping in, what we saw Chelsea do was the right back would tuck in a little bit more, and Cole Palmer on the right hand side would almost retreat into like a right wing back position. Bukayo Saka often does it for Arsenal as well. So it could be a midfielder dropping in to form a back 5, but there is also every chance it's one of the midfielders, or the wide midfielders I should say, dropping in to form that kind of wing back role. Could that happen on the other side? Does that naturally make sense as well? Garnacho retreating into this sort of position to create a back 5. And then we play like this. That could maybe work. Of course, then we have 3 natural centre-backs. And we've still got Casemiro out here. That's definitely an option as well. It's going to be interesting to see what we look to do in transition. Because what I was talking about the other day was the threat that Antony could bring. You know, of course, not something which we always talk about, Antony being a massively threatening player. Did the light just twitch? It did. It's flashing. Why is the light flashing? What's going on here? What was I saying there? What was I saying? Let's just change the light real quick. Oh, that's not good. We broke the green screen entirely now. That's not good. How can we fix the green screen? Hello? Let's quickly fix this. If I put my hand up, will it fix it? Oh, we've ruined it. We've broke it entirely. That's not a good sign at all. There we go. That'll do. Bruno in that Antony position, which we were talking about the other day, instead of playing it in, just playing it through with a Trivela. That's an option. Definitely an option. The only problem is it almost skips out that extra pass, and I feel like that extra pass is what is good against City, playing that extra pass across in the midfield. One thing I do want to consider, though, one second, let me just quickly sort something. Is the ball carrying ability of McTominay in transition. So if we're talking about that shape from the other day, so we've got the back four, and then we've got City looking to move the ball forward, particularly down their left-hand side. When they lose the ball in these areas here, what I was talking about was the ability of Antony to initially move inside, draw Rodri towards him, and again, naturally, John Stones is a centre-back, so he kind of filters backwards towards his own goal a little bit, and it opens up this space in here. Now, I can't remember who said it the other day, but they said they would actually like a ball carrier in this role. Well, Scott McTominay is that. Scott McTominay is a ball carrier. So could that work? With him now kind of driving forward into this space, you then get that Rashford runner into this area, Garnacho as well. That could work. Again, someone said it on the stream the other day in the chat, because I was speaking about Antony out wide, getting the ball into Bruno Fernandes and playing from there. And someone said I would prefer a ball carrier. McTominay might be exactly that. McTominay might do the exact job that you guys were asking for the other day. Possibly. The question, I guess, for McTominay is, does he then have that next pass after it? The pass after it. Can he find a Rashford in behind or not? Can he find a Garnacho? I'm not too sure. Not too sure. McTominay would run into the channels very well, but it should be used as a decoy so that someone gets in the vacated space and then find a better place to pass the ball from. So that could be McTominay running, opening up room for Kobbie perhaps, giving him more time. Because again, De Bruyne, you know, he's not a lazy player, but he's not someone who transitions towards his own goal brilliantly. You know, he can be a little bit lethargic in tracking back. He likes to save his energy for going forward. Is that, again, a way you can play down this side and then move in the pitch and exploit them like that? Exploit the space on the far side and then come back in. Yes, exactly that. The same box space you spoke about in the previous video. Yeah, opening up this room here. McTominay with that sort of decoy run. Kobbie Mainoo in this area. Casemiro is also not bad in these positions either, in terms of getting on the ball here and then quickly looking to fire passes forward. Sometimes it leads to chaotic games where we lose the ball a lot and we can't really get a grip of the game. But sometimes the Casemiros of the world, the Brunos of the world, they connect with their passes. And when they do that, we do look good. We do look threatening. We do look dangerous. I also don't think that is a City backline blessed with pace. You know, it's good. Obviously, Kyle Walker is very quick. But I'm not sure that City defence is the quickest outside of Kyle Walker. John Stones, he's not slow, but he's not the quickest player in the world. Diaz, he's not slow, but he's not the quickest player in the world. You could maybe get that. We just need to be compact and patient. Who are you guys, I guess, worried about the most then from this City team? Looking at that lineup, which of these players really scare you? Obviously, there's going to be a few of them because City are good. City are good. But who is it which you really feel we need to stop? I think the obvious answer is probably De Bruyne. Do we have someone who naturally stops De Bruyne? In the past, we used Fred. in the past, someone like Fred would do a job in these areas, track De Bruyne and stop him, basically. Is Kobbie the closest we've got to that in terms of sheer mobility? McTominay? Could McTominay have a deeper role tied up to De Bruyne? I think it's unlikely, but he could. What I do not want to see, and truthfully what cannot happen, is Casemiro being asked to be close to De Bruyne a lot. I don't think it will. I don't think that will be the case because I think Casemiro will be far enough away from him, but that would be scary. De Bruyne on Casemiro would be a nightmare. I might be wrong. It might happen and he might do very well, but it would scare me a little bit. People talking about Foden as well. Really good form at the moment. Really, really good form. One of the best players on the planet right now, I think. He's so dangerous. Absolutely terrifying. But the one slight advantage is he is left-footed. He can go out wide, but he is left-footed. He likes to drift. Lindelof is at least right-footed if we're looking for a positive, you know. I like to be optimistic about these things. At least he is moving onto Lindelof's stronger foot defensively. And then you get, again, a Kobbie in this area to try and help him out. Not too sure. I'm really unsure about what this United shape is going to be. It'll be interesting to see if Ten Hag is asked a question before the game about what the shape's going to be. If he gives us any sort of suggestion, he probably won't. You know what he's like, but who knows? You forgot about Foden. Yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he? He's pretty good at football. I mean, Bernardo Silva is an absolute joke. One of the most underrated players of all time, I think. I think he is one of the best midfielders the Premier League's ever seen. He's unbelievable. He can do anything. And then Doku, 1 versus 1. Terrifying. You've got the long-range ball striking of Rodri as well. They've just got good players everywhere. TJ Nature, good to see you, mate. Good day, AJ, mate, regardless of the result. United. Absolutely. I hope you are well, my friend. Hope you're looking forward to the game. How are you feeling? Do you think we get a result out of this or not? Last time that Evans played in a derby, we scored a last-minute winner. I'm just saying. I think we win this game 1-0. Is this that little Scott McTominay last-minute winner written all over it? Or a Rashford for the storyline? Possibly. Doku Dalot. I think Dalot has matured a lot defensively. Oh, FP may have been wrong with his stat. Never mind. Ignore that Evans propaganda. Dalot has been improved a lot from a defensive point of view, I think. But Doku is good. Doku is good. That would be a concern. But he might be alright. I think, honestly, the most important players I feel for us today are Evans and Varane, purely for box defence up against Haaland. There will be spells where we're kind of camped in a little bit in our own defensive third, struggling to get out, struggling to get towards City. In those situations, there's going to be crosses coming into the box. De Bruyne loves to do it. He loves to do it. Evans and Varane have got to be switched on for that. And Onana as well. You know, when he can you come and claim some crosses? Take the pressure off of our centre-backs? Yes, please. If you can do that, please do it, my friend. But also Casemiro in front of them. Casemiro needs to have a good game. He needs to avoid an early booking, I think. I think that would be a bad day for him. But Casemiro needs a good performance. On the ball, he needs to be keeping the ball for us a decent amount, but also willing to play forward as well. But defensively, has he got the mobility to snuff out danger across the pitch? And if he doesn't, does he have the players around him who can help him? Again, the shape will somewhat affect that. You know, does he have McTominay and Kobbie either side of him? If he does, that helps him a lot. And Casemiro could have a really good game because, as we said earlier, he's another player which can drop into the box and do a lot of good defensive work. So he can be a threat in that way. And, not a threat, sorry, he can be just a really useful player for us in that way. I think Bruno Fernandes, I think it's a big day for him. Of course, carrying a slight knock at the problem, so shout out to him for just continuing to be available through everything. What a player. But hopefully he has one of those days where he finds his passes. My only concern is if Bruno plays wide right, we have seen games in the past where he plays on the wing where he's just not involved. We've seen games where the game just passes him by a little bit because he's not in the middle. He's not able to be, scrappy with it, but he doesn't get a high volume of touches. He can't spray loads of passes forward. In terms of when he gets the ball on the wing, he is a little bit restricted with how he can play because most things are going to be one way of him. Apart from the up the line pass, everything is this side of him, making him a bit more predictable. Whereas in the middle, more angles. He can go straight, left, right. He can do a little bit of everything in the middle. So that's my concern with Bruno a little bit. But he's one of those players. He's one of probably a few players in our squad who can just break a game out of nothing. If this game is tight, he's someone who can provide something for us. And it was tight last time against City until they got given a penalty for no apparent reason. An incident which we see in every Premier League game. It was against United, so they got the penalty for it. But up until that point, it was a fairly tight game. We did stop them playing the football that they wanted to play, and we can do that again. Rashford will surely play centrally, his only job being to mark Rodri or Stones. Bruno and Garnacho will definitely track on the right and left respectively. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons I'd said about Antony playing the game. So that Antony and Garnacho could play out wide, you get a defensive shift from them. Rashford, I do think, probably needs to play central. Whether that's as a solo striker or as a front two in a sort of diamond shape, he might need to play this game central just because of his lack of defensive work going backwards. The good thing for him is I get the feeling, and even with that 11 as well, I get the feeling that we're not going to be crazy on a high press, which is obviously going to reduce the work for him to do, meaning that there's less defensive emphasis on him, but also our forward players in general. So we can focus on being compact. If we try and press here, scary time. Scary hours, and I think we can get hurt. But if we do sit off, if we are compact, whether it be a 4-5-1, a 4-1-4-1, a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-4-2, whatever shape it may be, as long as we reduce the spaces, we give ourselves a massive chance. Because we've got players who are good defensively. The Varans, the Evans, the Casemiros, they're good defensively. But then also, we have that ability to transition, and our squad does suit transitioning football. Garnacho, Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, even Scott McTominay. These guys suit these transitions massively. You also think Rashford's central, because if he plays out wide, he's against Walker, who is City's only quick player. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Garnacho gets on against Walker. It will be a really good test for him to see kind of where he is at the moment on the left wing. So I'm looking forward to that challenge in terms of Garnacho's development. Man City backline has to be on their toes so that they don't suffocate us. Rashford will have to make many runs in behind, even though they won't be rewarded most of the time. That's actually a really good point, and I think that's going to be very important for Rashford in this game. You're not always going to get the ball if you make a run, but you've got to keep making it. So if we do get it right one time, you've got to be there ready on it. So the body language, again, spoken about a lot recently, I think it will be an important thing in this game. And I think people will be having their eyes on him like they always do because he's Marcus Rashford. He draws that attention. In terms of tactically, as Valzer has said there, I do think we'll see situations where he switches with Garnacho. I don't think it'll be fixed. I don't think any of these forwards, Rashford, Garnacho or Bruno, want to play a fixed position. So I think we will see a little bit of freedom, a little bit of fluidity between the players, moving into different positions, trying to overload key areas of the pitch. If they do that, again, it causes confusion. You get runners across the front of people, diagonal runners. It can confuse City. Question though. Now to focus a little bit on the possession side of things. Can United play from the back in this game or not? Because I have a concern. If we don't play from the back, say just on a goal kick, and instead we go long a lot, who on earth is winning those headers? For us. Because we don't win the second ball very well, so we probably need to win the first. Unless McTominay's pushed higher. He could be one which you target a little bit. But let's say it's a United goal kick. And the setup looks... Let's say it looks like this. Let's say we go with this shape. And Onana's got the ball in goal. And he's looking to play out from the back. He looks up. We decide not to play short. Because perhaps that's a tactical decision made by the coach. So therefore we need to go long. I don't know who we go long to. Because Aki's going to beat Bruno. Those centre-backs are going to beat Rashford all day long. And also Garnacho is going to be beaten as well. Obviously, there is the potential to turn them around and go over them, but it's a slightly more difficult pass to execute. You know, you're not going to do that 20 goal kicks a game. You can do it here and there. One player we could potentially use, looking at it, is McTominay. Particularly if Bernardo is going to drop into a double pivot. City can be 4-4-2, 4-4-2 like this sometimes, sorry. If we do invert Dalot and do something like this, could we get McTominay on Bernardo Silva? That's something we could do. Although, again, there's every chance that City just swap Rodri and Bernardo Silva around, so Rodri's on McTominay, and again, it reduces our threat. So I think at times we have to try and play out from the back. I just don't know how well that will go for us. We don't have Shaw, we don't have Lisandro Martinez, Mason Mount, whoever. We don't have those players. But I think if we exclusively play a long game, I think we just give City complete control. And at that point, we could be talking about a City side having 70-80% possession. Now, obviously, you can look at that and go, well, that suits us, because that means we can sit deep, be compact, and play in transition. But you've got to think of the psychological aspect of the game. If you are Marcus Rashford, if you are Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho, Kobbie, whoever you may be, if we spend the whole game just chasing the ball, shuffling side to side, having 20% possession, 30% possession, it takes a toll on players. One, they just don't enjoy it. The mood is down because you can't get out from the back. Players get frustrated. The ball doesn't get held up. Suddenly you start pointing fingers and shouting at your teammates. So it's a negative for the whole team. So I think we need to try and play from the back and get a foot on the ball. It's just about how well you actually do it. That's the question. There is one potential solution. City in a 4-4-2. So we've got John Stones and Diaz at the back. Walker, of course, on one side, Aki on the other. Bernardo Silva and Rodri in a double pivot. Let's put them this way around for now. And then the front four. What United could maybe do, oddly, is use our left-hand side, Victor Lindelof. And then use decoy runners and movements which move City players out of the way to make room for other people. Because what happens as you play out from the back, initially we technically do have 5 versus 4 because of Onana. So we've got the excess player. But what you can do is work the ball one way. And I think Rashford can be useful even if he doesn't get the ball here. Because he is a player which is just scary. Rashford's scary, so teams don't like to go 1 versus 1 against him. So teams will often be 2 versus 1 instead. In that situation, let's just move a couple of players about, let's say like this. Because they're scared here of being 1 versus 1, it means they have 1 less player somewhere else on the pitch. What you can use against City is a decoy runner. So perhaps it's Casemiro. Maybe Kobbie starts higher. Casemiro makes this sort of movement. The fact that Lindelof is right-footed now actually works a little bit. Because he can come inside like this, and with this sort of manipulating run, you can move Rodri and go into these areas and get on the turn. And we've actually done this the first time against City. I was looking at it on Twitter this morning. You can get at City in this way, and we've done it already this season. It was Dalot at left-back on that occasion, and Amrabat was the one drawing players away instead of Casemiro. But again, it could work in this game. The fear would be, it is high risk, high reward. I'm trying to remember who said this on Twitter. I want to give them credit, but I can't remember who it was. If I remember, I'll send it to people at some point. But it's high risk, high reward, because obviously you are now forcing a pass into these areas, which is a dangerous area of the pitch. If someone like Stones now nicks in and it is aggressive and Casemiro is out of position, we are in trouble. But at the same time, it can be effective. And we can go Lindelof to Kobbie, get on the turn, and things like that. Most people are showing it as a 4-3-2-1. What way round have people got that out of interest? Obviously, Casemiro will be the 6. Scott may play as a second striker, Garnacho exploiting Aki on the right-hand side. I'm a fan of Garnacho right-hand side. I think you guys know that by now. It's where I like to see him. I think it's where he's at his best at the moment. So I love him on that side of the pitch and would love to see him there again. Not sure if it'll happen in this game. Yeah, you said most people have got this as a 4-3-2-1, which, by the way, is a 4-3-3. It's the same thing. It's just narrower players. People are too focused on shapes. Who are the 2 wider players in that front line? How do you feel about Antony not starting? I'm not gutted about it. You know, I thought he had a good role to play in this game, and I thought he would start, but I'm not gutted either because he doesn't do that much when he plays to really force himself into the team, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought he would play for his defensive work, his retention work on the ball, so I'm a little bit shocked that he's not in the 11, but we can work around that. We've got other players who can do some similar jobs. The United site has it as the Christmas tree. Yeah, but who is the front three in that? So I'm assuming it's Rashford up front. Who have they got either side? Because again, what people need to remember is the idea of the Christmas tree shape, right? It's very, very, very similar to a 4-3-3. It's so unbelievably similar. So let's say it could be like this, but as the ball goes to Lindelof, Bruno will move wide. And now it's a 4-3-3 again. So, again, it's important not to get too caught up on what the literal shape is, particularly in possession. The important thing, rather than the exact shape, is what role are the players playing. So, again, is Fernandes central or is he wide? Is Rashford central or wide? Garnacho? Is McTominay deep or high? Kobe? Those are the important things. Not literally, is it a 4-3-3? Is it a 4-2-3-1? Is it a 4-3-2-1? That's not important. It's just who has what role. Is Bruno Fernandes the wider one? If so, that's something we need to talk about. That's what's key here. They are starting McTominay for his aerial presence. I would imagine so. His effectiveness at set pieces at both ends of the pitch. We discovered the other day that City are good at set pieces, particularly defensively. But also just his work rate. He's someone who wins a lot of duels. If you give him a man-marking job, he can do it. You know, he works hard. Covers a lot of ground. He'll go into the battles. So I think that's why he probably plays. I think Bruno may play as a free playmaker. Mainu as a box-to-box midfielder with the regular formation. Very possible as well. It seems like they've played Foden central. What does that change? Truthfully, it makes him a little less retention-based in central areas. Because Foden's obviously a great technical player, but he is, again, someone who wants to play forward a lot. Bernardo Silva has a greater understanding of tempo and things like that, when to slow the game down, when to speed it up. Foden, not so much. A Rodri, De Bruyne, Foden midfield, truthfully, is not one which wants to defend transitions. On the ball, they're terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, because these guys are ridiculously good at football. So that's a very scary prospect. But, again, when they lose the ball, when City lose the ball, that's when they are at their weakest. City hate transitions. Guardiola happily says it. Ruben Dias has said it in the past. City hate defending transitions. It's just not what they want to do. It's not their game plan. Rodri, Foden, De Bruyne. They don't scream out ball-winning midfielders who are going to cover a lot of ground going backwards. So again, can we get a McTominay driving with the ball into these areas? We could have some joy there. I think the important thing is going to be breaking that first line. So when City lose the ball high up the pitch, it's not about can we progress the ball in these areas. That's not the important part. It's can we get past them initially. So De Bruyne loses it and it goes to Evans. Now can we get out? Can we quickly pop a couple of passes? If we can, you can get at that City defence. I've covered it throughout the week, really. You can get at that City defence in the transition because, again, it's just not what they want to do. City's whole game plan is about control. It's about domination, having the ball and reducing the threat of the opposition. They don't want to run backwards towards their own goal. They hate doing it. So that is a way in which United can exploit them. In terms of this stream, though, I think that is pretty much all I want to cover because we can't talk too much because a lot of it is merely speculation. But before we leave, I want some score predictions in the chat. What do you guys reckon? What's the score going to be in this game? Who's getting the goals? If it is for City or for United, who is going to grab the goals? Let me know what you think in the chat. I'm going to go 1-0 to United with a goal. The winning goal coming from Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, 1-0, Manchester United. Please and thank you. That would be lovely. Kabaki saying 3-1 to City. Josh saying 2-0 to United. Love that. Rashford and McTominay with the goals. 2-1 United. Love it. City 3-1. Lol, really? going to guess you don't watch too much football. Fair enough. What are your sub-predictions? Honestly, I don't see a lot of threat from the bench. I'll be honest, I do worry about that a little bit. Beating City on their turf. Yes, we've done it several times in the past few seasons, so we can definitely do it again. We have a actually weirdly good record against City since Pep's been there. Pepper's beating on a lot of teams, not us so much. Compare it to Arsenal, for example. David with the gifted membership. Thank you very much, my friend. Good to see you. Guys, quickly spam some love hearts in the chat. Say thank you to David for the gifted membership. Because like I said, that is greatly, greatly appreciated. What an absolute legend. Thank you very much. Guys, spam some love hearts in the chat. And Nuruddin, just before we leave, has come in with 20 gifted memberships. So I won't leave until we see all of those come through here. Thank you very much, Nuruddin. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Guys, love hearts in the chat. So 21 of you guys, which weren't members before, are now members because of the generosity of David and also Nuruddin. Matt saying 2-2, a Rodri screamer off of a corner. Aki random overlap. Rashford header. Scott last minute equaliser bundled over the line. I'll take it. I'll take it all day long. Absolutely. 1-0 United. Let's go. My prediction as well. I can feel it. 1-0 to United. Omar Barada. Bullet header. Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you guys very much for those gifted memberships. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Coming in right at the end of the stream. Very generous. Keep getting those score predictions in the chat, guys. Let me know who the main man's going to be today. I want membership. Can anyone gift it? It's completely random who it goes to. You don't get to choose who you gift them to. I fear Foden versus Lindelof because we've seen it before. Understandable. There's also talks that it will be Bernardo wide, Foden in midfield, which would be interesting. Rashford 1v1, red card and penalty, 1-0 United. Lovely. 2-1 United's path. 2-1 United, says Nev, a Bruno penalty, Haaland's header, and an Ahmad super sub. Yes, please. I think City is beating us minimum 2-0. Fair enough. Could happen, but hopefully not. 2-1 to United, may need to score the winner. What dreams are made of, right? Did I see 5-4 with McTominay scoring all of them? Interesting performance. Interesting performance that would be. Hope for the positive result. Absolutely. Why not be positive? Why not be positive? If you are miserable now, and then miserable during the game and then miserable at full time, what's the point? You might as well be happy going into the game. If your mood's going to get changed later, fair enough. But why spend all the time before kickoff miserable about it as well? Be excited for the game. We've got a chance to win this game. Absolutely. We've got a chance, a massive, massive result here. We can dent City's chances of a title hugely. But also we can put ourselves right back in the race for European and Champions League football next season. This could be a win today, which completely changes the whole outlook. Because if we can beat City, without Shaw, without Lisandro Martinez, without Rasmus Højlund, there is not a team in this world we can't beat. So I think we might as well be positive. We might as well be optimistic. It might come back to bite us later on. But if it does, so be it. So be it. Nuruddin said, AJ, if Garnacho scores, I'm going to drop a 50. Garnacho, if you wouldn't mind, it'd be greatly appreciated. It could be him. I think Rashford in a 1-0. But anyway, that is all for today's stream. So thank you guys what does that even make sense? Thank you to everyone who left a like on the stream, everyone who joined in. We've got another gifted membership from Callum in the chat. Thank you very much, Callum. Guys, quickly, love hearts in the chat right now. Right now. Love hearts. Green love hearts everywhere in the chat. Thank you very much, Callum, for the gifted membership. Spam the love hearts in the chat, guys. Thank you to everyone who liked, everyone who got your thoughts in the chat. Of course, the gifted memberships as well from Callum, from Nuruddin and David as well. Absolute heroes. Greatly appreciated from all of you. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Hopefully we enjoyed the game. If we win, which we're going to, I will do a video on the game tonight. If it's a draw or a loss, which ain't going to happen, the video will be tomorrow morning. Whatever the result today, though, it's just a game of football. It's just a game of football. If we win, it's much more than football. But if we lose, it's just a game of football. Do something else to take your mind off it. Don't let it completely ruin your mood. Take the positives from the game which you can. And I think there's going to be a lot because I think we're going to win 1-0. Trying to manifest it. You know, is this delusion? Maybe. If I keep saying it, it will happen though. That's my thought process here. We're going to win 1-0, guys. We win 1-0. 3 points. 1-0. Easy. 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 Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the game. I hope we are able to enjoy the game. We are treated to a game which we can enjoy. But apart from that, we are finished for today's stream. There might be a video later. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. Enjoy the match. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.